as the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, to the Redwood Forest, to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun was shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. The voice came a-chanting, and the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Isn't this great? We're all here again. We've been gone too long. Anyway, good evening. My name is Jerry Mihay, and I welcome you to American Pie 2022 Reset. I'd really like to begin by thanking each and every one of you for taking some of your time to spend with us. It is truly a thing of beauty to see everyone live in person again. This year we are commemorating our 37th consecutive event, and we would like to thank our long-standing patrons and their unwavering dedication for our show and supporting us through good and bad. Tonight we'd like to treat you to a broad sample of music featuring a wonderful array of individuals, young and, well, you know. Most of you by now are familiar with the history of American Pie. This program came to be as a project in the history classes of Columbus North teacher Ed Nesbajani. When his class lesson drew, yes, indeed. When his class lesson drew too many students from elsewhere, disrupting attendance in the process, he was kindly asked to present the lesson in the evening rather than during school hours. When Columbus North English teacher Dennis Lindsay made some lighthearted comments about including Bob Dylan in the program, he was invited to come on board as a collaborator. Put your money where your mouth is, in other words. Working with Ed for better than 2 decades. Thank you both for sharing your vision with us. It's great to be back. I would now like to take a moment to introduce to you a very special person, your guide through history, Karen Allen.
Hello, everybody. Shall we get started on this magical history tour? The decade of the 1950s was shaped by an array of forces that would include the availability of modern consumer products, the Cold War, and the ever-growing and restless younger generation. This generation would begin rejecting the trappings of their parents as they searched for their own identity. No longer constrained by the economics of the Great Depression and World War II or the oppression of anti-communist McCarthyism, Fast cars and rock and roll music were two sure tickets to escape the boredom and repression. These youthful feelings saw their best expression through James Dean in his blockbuster Hollywood debut, Rebel Without a Cause, Glenn Ford starring in Blackboard Jungle, writer Jack Kerouac's groundbreaking literary piece, On the Road, and the ethnic mix of rock and roll. Young listeners would begin to enjoy a variety of artists such as Bill Haley, Little Richard Penniman, Chuck Berry, and the king himself, Elvis Presley. Buddy Holly, a bespectacled young guitar player, singer, songwriter from Texas, introduced his brand of rock and roll to the national audience beginning in 1957. After taking a brief hiatus in 1958, following 2 nonstop years of writing, recording, and touring, Holly returned to the road in February 1959. To alleviate the discomfort of riding on a tour bus during a particularly cold leg of the tour, Holly chartered a private plane to fly him to the next show. The plane crashed shortly after takeoff in a snowstorm, killing Holly and his fellow touring stars Ritchie Valens and the Big Bopper J.P. Richardson, along with the plane's pilot. This event would be commemorated 12 years later in a popular song titled American Pie. Singing Holly's 1958 hit song Peggy Sue will be Columbus North student Ben Richards.
Peggy Sue, then you know why. I love you, Peggy Sue, with a love so rare and true. Oh, my Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, gal, yeah, I love you, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue, pretty, 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 pretty Peggy Sue, my Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, gal, yeah, I need you, Peggy Sue. I love you, Peggy Sue, with a love so rare and true. Oh, my Peggy Sue. Well, I love you, gal, yeah, I love you, Peggy Sue. Pretty Peggy Sue, oh, my Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, gal, yeah, I need you, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue, how my heart it yearns for you. Oh, my Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, gal, yeah, I want you, Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, gal, yeah, I want you, Peggy Sue.
During the Dust Bowl days of the Great Depression, scores of families packed up their belongings and migrated to the temperate environs of California. The defense industry of World War II enjoyed the abundance of physical space, and an ever-growing workforce would provide an environment of sustained prosperity. The early years of the 1960s in California would become a hotbed for the ever-increasing popularity and national exposure of surfing. At the same time, sounds blasting from the newly introduced electric guitars and amplifiers produced by a man named Leo Fender would provide an exciting soundtrack. Mix the two, and surf music was born. Artists like Dick Dale would use their electric instruments to emulate the dynamics of the waves and water, the beauty and the danger. The Ventures, an instrumental guitar-based ensemble from Seattle, Washington, known for doing instrumental covers of a wide range of popular songs, hit pay dirt while riding the wave of surf music. The American Pie Band will now perform for you the Ventures' national hit, Walk Don't Run. In the years following World War II, the demand for automobiles would put the city of Detroit at the center of industrial production in the United States. Beginning in 1960, production of popular music would also put Detroit on the map when music producer extraordinaire Berry Gordy Jr. merged his Tamla and Motown record labels. Motown would begin producing its long list of hit songs with notable artists such as Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Marvin Gaye, Mary Wells, The Temptations, The Supremes, The Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, and the Jackson 5. Motown Record Corporation was a self-contained, self-sufficient hit factory, staffed with its own songwriters, producers, musicians, choreographers, and singers. You Really Got a Hold on Me, a 1962 hit by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, will be performed for you by Columbus East students Mason Darnell, Zoe Barnesfather, and Molly Bray.
Seems that always
1960 initiated a new era for America with the election of President John F. Kennedy. Youthful in his own appearance, he had a beautiful wife and 2 young children. Many American parents raising their own baby boomer children felt a connection to the glamorous couple, resulting in a time of hope and excitement. Kennedy's pledge to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade created an expectation of progress. Despite an improving economy, Kennedy had a difficult time completing many of his political objectives and began feeling the pressure of the upcoming 1964 election. To bolster his popularity with the voters in Texas, he made a trip to Dallas in November of 1963. We all know the rest, but 2 questions remain. Where were you when Kennedy was shot, and who shot him? Popular music was enjoying a tremendous period of growth and an expansive range of songs. The art of writing hits soon became an integral part of the music industry, and a prolific core of professional songwriters were able to provide a wealth of material for recording. Girl groups, as they were often referred to, would experience a surge in popularity in the early to mid-1960s. As recording production techniques improved, the sweet harmonies of young ladies provided the basis for many hit records. Groups such as the Dixie Cups, the Crystals, the Ronettes, Martha and the Vandellas, the Chiffons, and the Shangri-Las enjoyed much success and great notoriety during this time. California-based producer Phil Spector would become famous for employing large assemblages of musicians to create his wall of sound as a background for songs performed by many popular girl groups of the early and mid-1960s. One of these groups, the Crystals, would relate the innocent yet spontaneous nature of young love in their 1963 gem, Then He Kissed Me, featuring Sophia Martinez, Connor Cheek, and Amelia Maddox. Doris Troy, daughter of a Pentecostal minister, would join the female effort to impact the record charts with her only hit record, Just One Look, in 1963. Presenting this to you tonight are Columbus North students Anya Carroll, Elaney Parker, and Olivia Pittman. The Supremes, led by the charismatic Diana Ross, would prove to be the most successful of the female acts of Motown. By 1972, Motown would relocate to California, with Diana Ross playing feature roles in the motion pictures Lady Sings the Blues and Mahogany, both produced by Berry Gordy. Performing the Supremes' 1964 classic, Where Did Our Love Go?, will be Columbus North students Vanessa Holloway, Caroline Andrus, and Lucy Wilson.
Baby, don't leave me. Ooh, please don't leave me. I've got this burning, burning yearning, feeling inside me. Ooh, deep inside.
The Ronettes were the recipients of extra attention from producer Phil Spector, as he would eventually marry lead singer Ronnie Bennett, but not before producing their smash hit Be My Baby in 1964. Performing this song will be Ilana Thomas, Molly Hotek, and Bree Guthrie.
Just wait and see. For every kiss you give me, I'll give you 3. Oh, since the day I saw you, I have been waiting for you. You know I will adore you till eternity. Don't you please be my little baby.
And now I'd like to introduce to you the Columbus North Band Director, Mr. Keith Burton.
Thank you. It is my privilege to get to work with the horn players and the strings and the percussionists that we put together for this show every year. This is, I think, number 20 for me. So I've been at it long enough to know how special it is, an opportunity to get to do this. We're going to start with our string players. Over on your right, Tiffany Fu, Nathan Lin, Sripada Munjaluri, and from Columbus East, Jinabewi. Our percussionist on that same riser, Ishan Mehta, and Jasmine Yang. Then our horn section on saxophone, Tiffany Fu again, she's still over there. Ashley Lara, Ayumu Fujiwara, Riley England, Andrew McLean, Ben Goins, Joe Thomas, and Charlie Terry. Our brass section, trombone players, Cam Barker, Sophie Hill, Isaac Green, and our trumpet players back there, Keaton Rubel, Antonio Ortiz, Leo Likens, and Garrett Cottle. It's our horn, strings, and percussion.
The Shangri-Las tended toward the melodramatic with their hit, Remember Walkin' in the Sand. This reading will be performed by Molly Hotek with Austin Weber, Vanessa Holloway, Ilana Thomas, and Sophia Martinez. Based on a remake of the song by some famous fans of the Shangri-Las, Hall of Fame rock band Aerosmith. This song will feature 1979 Columbus North graduate and Indianapolis music fixture Kevin Silva on guitar. Approximately 188 years after the United States declared independence, the British would return with an invasion force of popular music groups, beginning with, of course, the Beatles. More on them later. The bands of the new British invasion would help to divert the pain and disillusionment suffered by the nation's youth in the wake of the Kennedy assassination. The British movement would also expose America's youth to music first performed by blues musicians from their own country. The Kinks would not only ride the first major wave coming over from Britain, but would remain a relevant musical force through the 1980s, surpassed in longevity only by the Rolling Stones and The Who. The first hit by the Kinks,
So I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. Don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. All right! Wow! See, don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
We're going to have some horn players do something really, really special for you. But before we go on, I want to introduce the members of the band. Hang on. I had so much stuff to say, I had to put it on 2 pages. These guys are special. I've worked with most of them for the better part of the time I've ever been a musician. Some new as well. On guitar on the far side there, Mr. Dalton Foley, a former student of mine. He was my student one day, and the next thing I know, he's teaching at North. How'd that happen? Anyway, he came up to me one day and he said, "I'd like to play guitar in American Pie." I said, "Well, we will do that." And he's been here for 6 years now, so he's not going anywhere. Dalton Foley. The gentleman standing to my immediate left, his name is Mr. Dan Mustard. He's covered all the bases of guitar performer, teacher, guitar designer, and builder. Dan is familiar to Columbus residents that have seen him perform in church, the Donner Park series, in a duo with his wife, Linda, and his Facebook posts of doing some incredibly beautiful solo renditions of songs. Dan Mustard. Before the show, we were talking about this backstage. Danny Clark on the keyboards. He was talking about how he kind of stumbled into this. And Danny's been around for a long time. He started playing in bands in the late 60s, and I would say that was probably the result of the Beatles, of course. Danny still performs locally at church and with his wife, Carola. Danny has been a part of the American Pie Band for 25 years. Danny Clark. 22. I knew it was a long time. Anyway, on the drums, reappearing last year after a rather lengthy hiatus, Dave Maris. I've actually known Dave longer than anyone else on this stage. We go back to our high school days when we were members of fledgling young bands with stars in our eyes. Dave is a veteran of notable bands such as the Rods and Cones, the Carl Story Band, Tastes Like Chicken, and a School of Guppies. Dave is in his second stint with the American Pie Band after playing in a number of American Pie shows beginning in 1994. Dave Maris. And lastly, but not least, 29 years, Greg Hedges on bass. Greg has the longest tenure in the American Pie Band besides me. Greg came on board at my request in 1994, as well as he's been a part of the show since. Our musical career together dates back actually to 1980 at Indiana University. We can be heard locally in our own band, Brown 25. Greg Hedges.
Instrumental music has often enjoyed a significant degree of popularity, serving as incidental music for motion pictures, commercial advertising, or as chart-topping radio hits. Herb Alpert would perfect the art of creating musical pieces that would impact pop cultures of the 1960s by blurring the lines of popular music, advertising, remember the T-Berry Shuffle, and movie soundtrack. A superb musician from a young age, he would experience success in all facets of music, but would be most recognized for his band, the Tijuana Brass, having 5 simultaneous top 20 albums in the Billboard Pop Album Chart, and as co-owner of A&M Records. Performing his 1965 hit, A Taste of Honey, will be Mr. Keith Burton with Brian Munoz and the American Pie Horns. I love the American Pie horns. 1968 would prove to be another exceptionally traumatic year for the United States. The year started badly on January 30th when North Vietnamese forces launched what is referred to in history as the Tet Offensive, overwhelming many American and South Vietnamese forces in the process and dashing any hopes of an immediate end to the conflict in Southeast Asia. A war-weary nation would suffer another blow on April 4th when civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was slain in Memphis, Tennessee. Angry riots broke out in over 100 American cities as a result. Later that evening, while campaigning for the Democratic presidential nomination, Robert Kennedy gave a speech in Indianapolis, Indiana, urging the nation to honor Dr. King's achievements with peace and reverence. On June 5th, shortly after being declared the winner of the California's Democratic primary, Kennedy himself would fall victim to an assassin's gun. The Democratic National Convention, held in Chicago in August, would be characterized by a continuum of riots and arrests. Meanwhile, rock music would display a more mature attitude, one free of screaming teeny boppers. In May of 1968, the Rolling Stones, having reached the highest level of cool, would begin what is considered by aficionados to be their golden era with the release of Jumpin' Jack Flash. Presented for you tonight by Mr. Tony London, accompanied by two very special guests.
How you doing? 1968, very important year. I was born, and where's my class of 1986 at in here? Thank you very much. Glad you're up this late. All right, we're gonna do a little Rolling Stones for you tonight. But I got a couple people I want to introduce. I'm a very proud father tonight. When Jerry asked me if I was going to do the show this year, I wasn't going to do it, but I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do it if I can have a special treat, special gift for a very, very happy dad. And so I said, I'll do it if I can have a little family band. So singing with me tonight is my daughter, Kate London. Lead guitar tonight is my son, Charlie London. Charlie is the youngest person ever to solo in this show. He sang a solo when he was 5 years old up on the stage, and he's a senior tonight, so I'm very proud of him. Here he is up on the stage.
Yo, who said that was okay?
All right, here we go. Here's a little Jumpin' Jack Flash. I was born in a cross by a hurricane, in the house and my ma in the driving rain. But it's all right now. In fact, it's a gas, but it's all right. I'm jumping Jack Flash, it's a gas, gas, gas. I was raised by a toothless, spitting hag. I was schooled with a strap right across my back. But it's all right now. In fact, it's a gas, but it's all right. I'm
Jumping jack flash is a gas, gas, gas.
Washed up and left for dead.
I fell down to my feet and I saw they bled.
Yeah, 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 I'm brown and grown up across the red.
Yeah, 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 I was brown with a spike right through my head. But it's all right now. Back in the gas, but it's all right. I'm jumping that fast in the gas, gas, gas. Jumping jack flash, it's a 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 gas.
Catchy lyrics that are easy for people to remember and maybe more importantly, hard for people to forget have been responsible for multitudes of popular songs. In some instances, songs created by talented producers with abundant studio resources found their way to the top of the charts without the existence of an actual band. An example of such an occurrence was the studio project called Steam and a #1 hit in 1969 called Na Na, Hey Hey Hey, Kiss Him Goodbye, whose repeating chorus line would soon become popular at athletic events to elevate the misery of a losing team. Presenting this song tonight will be Ishan Mehta with McCarty Elliott, Blake Cooper, and Anna Jackson.
Na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. No, no, make you cry. He might be thrilling, baby, but my love, my love, my love. Kiss him, wanna see you kiss him, wanna see you kiss him. Goodbye. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. Hear you to comfort and cheer you, to catch those sad tears of falling from your eyes. He might be thrilling, baby, but my love, my love, my love. Kiss him, wanna see you kiss him. Go on and kiss him. Goodbye. Na 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 na, hey, goodbye. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey, goodbye. Na 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 na, hey, goodbye. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey, goodbye.
This band was so big that even its own members referred to it in the third person. Many will ponder history from a perspective of, what if the Beatles had not broken up? There are not enough superlatives and adjectives in Webster's dictionary to describe the band and their influence. Despite going to the extreme edges of everything creative, John, Paul, George, and Ringo would always return to the sanctity of the recording studio and do what they did best: record great songs. With the Abbey Road album, they would also come to reflect their conscious realization of the necessary contributions of longtime producer George Martin's gentle guidance in creating their final opus. Tonight, a medley of songs from Abbey Road will be performed by Jerry Mihay, Blake Cooper, Kate Franklin, Sarah Gross, and Caroline Brucken, featuring Kevin Silva on guitar.
James in the dark tries to save paper, sleeps in a hole in the road, saving up to buy us some clothes, keeps a 10-bob note up his nose. Such a mean old man, such a
Mean old man. His sister Pam works in the shop. She never stops. She's a go-getter. Dirty old man. Dirty old man.
see her and drag herself on the back. You should see her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get Mr. Jack to kill. She's a kind of girl.
As time progressed in the 60s, performance venues became larger, requiring more production. This, in turn, would increase the expectations of a performance. Audiences were only satisfied if the performance would become an event of large proportion. The bigger, the better, and we've been there ever since. By 1970, Led Zeppelin would emerge as one of the heaviest of the heavies. Their simple format of guitar, bass, drums, and lead singer would be characterized by the virtuosity of its individual members. Despite their heavy reputation, they also proved to be anyone's equal in the realm of folk music, a rare combination indeed. We've chosen to show the heavy side of Led Zeppelin with Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin III, performed for you by Columbus North Choir Director Jenny Gaffron. As the decade changed, it was apparent that the youthful innocence of an earlier time would vanish forever. The summative optimism of the United States completing JFK's commitment of putting a man on the moon, and the Aquarian bliss of the legendary Woodstock Festival would soon be eclipsed by the tragedy and chaos of a free concert at Altamont Speedway in Northern California in December of 1969, headlined by the Rolling Stones. From that point on, there seemed to be more questions than there were answers. By 1969 and 1970, rock music was reaching a new level of sophistication. In addition to recording production taking another leap forward in quality, music composition became more complex, many times exhibiting a harder edge. Lighthouse, a band native to Canada, would utilize horns and percussion to augment their sound to provide listeners with a heavy and hard-hitting celebration of love titled One Fine Morning, featuring W.D. Richards' teacher, Jeff Bray, with backing vocals provided by Jerry Mihay.
Wipe the sleep from my eyes. Go outside and feel the sunshine. Then I know I'll realize that as long as you love me, girl, we'll fly high. And on that morning when I wake up, I see your face inside a cloud. See you smile inside a window. Whoa. Hear your voice inside a crowd. Call and come with me, baby, and we'll fly high. Yeah, we'll fly high. Yeah, we'll fly. We'll fly. And on that morning when I wake up, we'll go outside and live our dreams. I'll buy you candy made of stardust, little dolls dressed up in moonbeams. And everywhere we go we'll laugh and sing. I'll kiss you morning, noon and night. And all the universe will smile on us, 'cause they know that our love is finally right. Yeah, we'll fly high. Yeah, we'll fly. We'll fly high. Yeah, we'll fly. Yeah, we'll fly to the east. We'll fly to the west. There'll be no place we can't call our own. Yeah, we'll fly to the north. We'll fly to the south. Every planet will become our own. Yeah, we'll fly high. Yeah, we'll fly. Yeah, we'll fly to the east. We'll fly to the west. There'll be no place we can't call our own. Yeah, we'll fly to the north. We'll fly to the south. Every planet will become our own. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Arlo Guthrie was born with the ultimate folk singer pedigree. His father, Woody Guthrie, was the archetype of American folk music. Arlo's first foray into popular music would be his 1967 release, Alice's Restaurant Massacre, an 18-minute, 34-second satire on the Vietnam military draft. A movie recounting the events that inspired the song was produced in 1969. 3 years later, in 1972, Arlo would have a successful hit single with the Steve Goodman-penned City of New Orleans, an ode to the rapidly vanishing passenger railroad industry. Singing this gem tonight will be Annie Miller with McCarty Elliott.
Illinois Central, Monday morning rail. 15 cars and 15 restless riders. 3 conductors, 25 sacks of mail. Along the southbound Odyssey, the train pulls out of Kankakee and rolls along past houses, farms, and fields. The passing trains that have no name, freight yards full of old black men, and the graveyards of the rusted automobiles. Good morning, America, how are ya? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the City of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. In the car came with the old man and the mother. No one keeping score. Pass the paper bag that holds the bottle. Feel the wheels from beneath the floor. And the sons of Pullman porters and the sons of engineers ride their father's magic carpets made of steel. Mothers with their babes asleep are rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rails is all they feel. Good morning, America, how are ya? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the City of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime on the City of New Orleans. Changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, we'll be there by morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling down to the sea.
Ricky Nelson was experiencing somewhat of an identity crisis by the 1960s. His run as a television star had come to an end, and his music was lost in the shuffle of the modern pop music. First, he would drop the Y from his name, preferring to be called Rick. He then began shaping his music more in a country-flavored version of rock that was becoming very popular on the West Coast. He accepted an invitation to perform in New York's Madison Square Garden in what turned out to be a rock revival show of golden oldies. His song Garden Party would serve as an outlet for his disillusionment and also bring him a hit, making it to number 6 on the charts. Singing Garden Party for you tonight will be Anna Jackson and Gabby Graham.
I went to Yoko brought a walrus. There was magic in the air. And over in the corner, much to my surprise, Mr. Hughes hid Dylan's shoes, wearing his disguise. But it's alright now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. La da da da, la da da da. I played them all the old songs. I thought that's why they came, but no one heard the music. We didn't look the same. I said hello to Mary Lou. She belongs to me. And when I sang a song about a honky-tonk, it was time to leave. And it's alright now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. La da da da, la da da da. Someone opened up the closet door, and out stepped Johnny B. Good, playing guitar like a ringing a bell, and looking like you should. Now if you gotta play garden parties, I wish you a lot of luck. But if memories are all I sang, I'd rather drive a truck. And it's alright now. Yeah, I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. La da da da, la da da da. And it's alright now. Yeah, I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
By the late 1960s, Miles Davis, one of the biggest names in jazz, began applying rock music sounds to his compositions, proving that both genres could complement one another. Rock musician, composer Frank Zappa, hitmakers Chicago, and a host of other rock performers were also sharing a path similar to Davis. As the 60s became the 70s, elements from rhythm and blues would add yet another dimension to this evolving sound that would be referred to as fusion. By 1974, Richard Nixon was gone and Gerald Ford became the first appointed president in American history. The average white band would hit the charts with the right combination of ingredients in a song titled "Pick Up the Pieces," served up by the American Pie Horns. It was a fitting title for a song relating to the fact that America was indeed picking up the pieces. The excessive and non-traditional values of the 1960s counterculture had become mainstream by the 1970s. People were not shocked by much anymore, not even nude people streaking in public settings. Despite the distractions of society, the creation of what is now referred to as classic rock would continue unabated. 1976 would witness the release of one of the year's best albums and the debut by newcomers Heart, a hard-rocking band featuring sisters Ann and Nancy Wilson. Having previously performed as a duo, their paths would diverge, with Ann becoming the lead singer for a powerful new rock band, while sister Nancy, an accomplished guitarist and singer, pursued a college education. Ann was finally able to convince her sister to visit and sit in with the new band, resulting in Nancy becoming the final piece to the puzzle. After their successful first album, a quick follow-up would be assembled to satisfy a previous legal claim, but Heart were hardly standing still. From the album Magazine, the song Heartless will be performed by Columbus North Spanish teacher Rebecca Burbrink with Olive Mantooth and Kate Russell.
Come back again next week. I think that you need me. All she did was cry. She wanted to die. Dr. Wayne, can you see me? There's a guy out there. Seems like he's everywhere. It just ain't fair. Heartless, heartless, never, never out of control. Heartless, heartless, you keep on living in the name of rock and roll. Heartless, heartless,
Oh, off they go. Fleetwood Mac began its journey to becoming one of the biggest selling recording acts of all time as a progressive British blues band in 1967. Suffering what seemed to be a perpetual identity crisis, evidenced by a revolving door of musicians, mental breakdowns, and fleeting success, they still managed to receive strong reviews from critics. Their world would forever change when founder drummer Mick Fleetwood took a trip to several recording studios in California looking for a place to record the band's next album. To demonstrate the sound quality of one studio, the engineer played a recently recorded album by an emerging duo, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. What happened next is not clear, but for certain, Buckingham and Nicks were invited to become the two newest members of Fleetwood Mac. The first album of this lineup, titled simply Fleetwood Mac, proved to be the biggest commercial success of the band to date. Their follow-up album, 1977's Rumors, would eclipse its success and go on to become one of the biggest selling albums of all time. Tonight, Macy Euler and world language faculty member Maria Sanchez will perform for you The Chain from that album. From its very outset, the medium of television would feature musical performers regularly. This would provide the listener with a visual accompaniment for what they had only heard on radio before. Teen-oriented programs such as American Bandstand, hosted by the perpetually youthful Dick Clark, gave a huge boost of exposure to dance hits of the day. Even the stoic-mannered Ed Sullivan would have to admit that the Beatles were his single biggest draw. A bevy of short-lived teen beat shows would soon appear, but a silly sitcom about a made-up rock band called the Monkees would appear in the fall of 1966 and would become an instant hit with young teens. Their entertainment package included 45s and LP records featuring them singing the songs. Several of these became hits in their own right, eventually gaining recognition as legitimate classics. With the delusion of the Monkees, Mike Nesmith continued on as a solo artist, producer, and eventually filmmaker. His creative instincts led him to combine his vast field of experience in music and television to conceptualize a channel dedicated to airing music videos. Its potential was quickly recognized, and Mr. Nesmith's latest project was purchased by an entertainment group who would expand the concept and rebrand it MTV. The promotional impact for new music was undeniable and would even threaten the future of radio. The beginning of the end of MTV as a pure music video medium would come only a few years into its meteoric career with the introduction of game shows such as the forgettable Remote Control. Sadly, things would never be the same. The very first song aired on MTV was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, and will be performed for you tonight by Columbus teacher Mike Spock with Ella Fisher, Olivia Shin, Bree Guthrie, and Sophia Martinez. Rest in peace, Mike Nesmith.
Put me on the radio.
They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology. If I was hungry, didn't stop you coming through. Oh, oh, I met your children. Oh, oh, what did you tell them? Pictures came and broke your heart. The last one. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind. We've gone too far. Oh, 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 oh.
Well, it has been quite an evening, hasn't it? Thank you so much for coming out. We had no idea, of course. After 2 years of doing video production, we were all really anxious to get back out and do this live once again. I want to take a few minutes and thank some people who really have made all this come together. And they've been serving in the trenches in school, elsewhere, and here as well. Jeff Metz and Sandy Kent for transforming creative ideas into print form with time to spare, no less. Leslie Weaver for channeling the creativity of her students into providing the show with a beautiful array of artwork, all the posters, all the stuff that was on Facebook, those kids created. You can't ask for anything better than that. Rachel McCarver for providing wonderful video presentation. Without her expertise, the shows of the last 2 years simply would not exist, period. John Johnson for running the best auditorium in town and putting up with this crazy bunch. Mr. Keith Burton for providing leadership and some legitimate musical stability. This program took a huge step forward when he became involved, a true gentleman. Thank you, Keith. Jennifer Gaffron, the newest member of our team, for bringing her own talent and infecting her students with a love for singing this kind of music. Both Keith and Jennifer are sharing students with us from one of the best high school music programs in the entire state of Indiana. Thank you. Carol Dingledye has created the definition of Facebook promotion for this show. Please see this for yourself. Carol's involvement with the show goes back many years and has included a variety of roles. She has found her true calling, I believe. Karen Allen was one of my biggest and best ticket customers, and actually still is. She approached me a few years ago about wanting to become involved in this madness we call American Pie. She crossed all the T's, dotted all of the I's, and in addition to keeping me in line, I could not have found a better narrator. Karen Allen. And lastly, I'd like to thank my wife, Diane, for her support in helping me keep my sanity. Diane. Each and every individual involved in the production of American Pie all feel truly blessed to have the opportunity and ability to share a few moments of our joy and happiness with you. Now we bid you goodbye with that classic piece by Kool and the Gang that summarizes all of our good fortune. But before I introduce that song, I made a promise. I said you would be able to leave this show and go get ice cream. You will be able to. But anyway, Celebration, performed for you by the American Pie Band and the Columbus North Choir.
celebration. This is your celebration. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? It's a celebration. Let's celebrate. Come on now. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A dedication to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gonna celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Let's celebrate. Come on now. Let's celebrate. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. Baby, we're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate.